Valentine, this is Marie Bennett with another video on card making. And today we're going to take a look at this stamp set called Hey Valentine. And Valentine's Day is one of my favorite days of the year. I love making Valentine's cards, and I have since I was just a little girl. So I hope you enjoy making Valentine's Day cards, and let's go ahead and get started. The first stamp we're going to use out of this stamp set is called Hey Valentine, Glad You're in My School, and it pictures a little school of fish. So we'll take out that stamp. I'm using the clear stamps, and so I have mounted my stamp on a size, gotta find the size E block. And if you look on the edge of your clear stamping block, and you will see the letter E is stamped into one of the sides. So I'm using a size E block with this stamp. And I'm going to use the Memento Tuxedo Black ink pad. I'm also using a piece of Whisper White cardstock that's been cut 5.5 by 8.5 inches and scored down the middle. So I'm going to fold along the score line, and then when I ink up my block, my stamp, when it's a large stamp like this, instead of having the ink pad on the table and inking it up this way, I turn the stamp over and I take a hold of the stamp pad and apply the ink to the pad. This way I can see by looking when the whole stamp has ink on it. Okay, that's looking pretty good. So now I'm going to center my image on the paper, pretty much right in the middle. Stamp it, just kind of let it sit there for a minute. Pull it straight up so I don't smear my ink. And there I have, Hey Valentine, glad you're in my school. Now the next thing I'm going to do with this card is I'm going to use either crayons or colored pencils, and I'm going to color in this fish picture. And that's all I'm going to do to complete this card. Okay, there's my finished card. I used colored pencils on this card, but if you used crayons, I'm sure they would be just as cute as could be. So go ahead and get started making this Valentine's Day card. I hope you have a good time. Okay, the next card that I'm going to make is going to be using the same stamp, but this time I'm using a layer piece of Whisper White that's been cut at 4 inches by 5.25. So I'm going to ink up my stamp the same way I did before, using the Memento Tuxedo Black ink. Put it right in the middle. And this time, instead of using crayons or colored pencils, I'm going to use my Blendabilities alcohol markers, 2 different sets. So I'm going to use the Calypso Coral and the Coastal Cabana. And if you watch the Tools of the Trade video on ink, then you remember that each of these Blendabilities alcohol markers comes in 3 different shades of the same color. So I want to use the lightest of the 3 colors of Coastal Cabana, and I'm just going to use this to color the little water bubbles and the bubble lines. So I'm going to use the pointed tip, not the brush tip, but the small pointed tip of the marker to color that in. Okay, I got all my little water bubbles and the little bubble lines colored in the lightest shade of the Coastal Cabana. And the next thing I'm going to do is use the darkest shade of the Calypso Coral, and I'm going to color in the dots on the fish. I think she's the only one that's got dots, so I'm going to pretend like they're freckles, and I'm going to color them in the darkest shade of Calypso Coral. Okay, now I'm going to use the pointed tip, and I'm going to color in the fins on all of the fish. You can see where the lines are on the tail and on the fins, and I'm going to color those areas in the medium color of Calypso Coral. Okay, so I have all of the tail fins and the little side fins colored in this medium color of Calypso Coral, so I'm done with that. So I put the lid flat on the table and slide it together until I hear it snap shut. Now I know this alcohol marker is closed. Okay, so I'm going to color the rest of the fish in the lightest shade of Calypso Coral using that smaller tip. Okay, so now I have all the fish colored in, and I've been trying to decide what color do I want to make the clothes and the hat and the book and the bow and the little heart. And I think that I'm going to use the darker shade of Coastal Cabana and see what that looks like. Okay, I like that. That's kind of cute. And I colored blue and left a white stripe in blue with a white stripe. Ooh, look at there. I forgot to color the hat. I'm going to do that real quick. I'll be right back. Now it's done. Well, this is not a whole Valentine card. It's just the outer layer of one. So next thing we have to do is stick this to a card base. Okay, so I have a piece of Coastal Cabana that has been cut to 5.5 by 8.5. It's a standard card base, and it's been scored at 4.25. So I'm going to fold it on the score line. Probably should get my bone folder, but that's okay. Alright. And then the next thing I'm going to do is put some tape on the back of this and layer it right on top of my card, leaving a little bit of a border all the way around. So I put some tape all around all four edges and a little dab in the middle. Then very carefully I leave a little edge, keeping it as straight as I can. Right there. And that card is cute just the way it is. But there's something else you could do if you wanted to make it a little fancier. You could use your little heart punch. And I never throw anything away, so I've got this piece of Coastal Cabana cardstock. And I'm going to punch out a couple of hearts. Like that. And maybe put them right there using these little dimensionals. And this I think this dimensional is too big, so I'm going to get a pair of snips and cut it in half. And then I can use half on one heart and half on the other. I think that'll work better. Oops. Here's the other. Then I take this little piece of paper off the back, and now it's sticky on this side, so I'm going to put it on my card right here. And I'll take the sticky off of this one, the paper protector off so the sticky comes out, and put it right here. There. And now my card is even fancier with the 2 raised hearts. So if you would like to create a card like this, get with it. Just pick the colors you like. Don't have to do it exactly the way I did it. Find some colors you like and create a really fancy Valentine's Day card. Have fun. Okay, one more idea for you using this same little School of Fish stamp is instead of making a card, you could make a treat holder. And this one I've just tied a little whisper white baker's twine bow and stapled it on using this handheld stapler. And then underneath it I'm going to hide this York peppermint patty. Seems like Valentine's Day is all about the candy. Valentine's and Easter. And so if you were wanting to give your classmates a treat or your teacher a treat, you could make this Valentine and hide a little piece of candy behind there, and that would be a really nice gift at Valentine's Day. Okay, the next stamp we're going to use is this little fox holding the number 1, and it says, "You're my number 1 Valentine." So I have put the stamp on my acrylic stamping block, and I'm using block D. And I'm going to use the Memento Tuxedo Black ink. And this is a fairly small stamp, so I can just stamp it the regular way. Stamp, stamp, stamp. These Memento ink pads aren't quite as juicy as the regular Stampin' Up! Ink pads, so I might do stamp, stamp, stamp twice. Oops. Look at the mess I made. No problem. I ink it up again and turn it over and use the other side, because every piece of paper has 2 sides. We don't worry about those mistakes. Alright. Close up my ink pad to keep it moist. Now, with this little stamp, you can see it's in the shape of a gift tag. And I have a gift tag punch that is designed specifically to go with this stamp. So the first thing I'm going to do is color this little guy to look like a fox, and then when I get that done, I'll come back and show you how to punch it out with the punch. Okay, so I have finished coloring the little fox gift tag, and the next thing we're going to do is punch it out using this gift tag punch. So you turn it over and you push it to unlock it, then slide the paper in until you can see that it's centered where it needs to be in the punch. Then you squeeze, and there you have a cute little Valentine's gift tag. Now, I have made a different gift tag just like this, but just to kind of keep, for the sake of using all of your time, I'll show you what I have done with this other gift tag. First thing I did was punch a hole in the top here so that I could put some string through the tag. So I put some string through the tag and tied it onto a piece of red ribbon and wrapped it around this little tiny gift box. And so in the gift box you could put any kind of Valentine treat that would fit in there. Little candy bar, or maybe some gumdrops, or anything that you would like to put in the box as a Valentine gift. These boxes look like this when you get them. So you have to fold the box. It's very simple. You pull it open like that. It's already been scored. So all of the folds are simple. You just fold on the score lines. The bottom of the box, you press in the sides like this, and then so you get the two sides pressed in, and then this tab that has a notch, press that in like that, and then this one has a little tab that's going to slide under and go into position like that, and then the gift box stays shut just like that. Then the top, you close the sides in, fold the top down, bend the little flap over, and then it slides right inside of there. So these little gift boxes store flat, but then they're very easy to fold into a nice little present. This next project, we're going to use this stamp with the little chick on it, but we're not going to use the chick part of the stamp. We're just going to use this banner that looks like it has little hearts hanging from it. So I'll show you how that works. First thing we do is put our stamp on a clear stamping block, unless you have wood stamps and then your stamp is already on a block. Then we need a piece of Scotch tape, and we're going to cover over the chick part of the stamp that's close to the banner we're trying to create. Just to kind of cover the stamp up, so in case some ink gets on it, we can just pull the tape off, and then all the ink is on the stamp that we're using. Alright, so I'm going to be using a real red marker, the brush end of a real red marker. And I'm just going to brush ink right on this stamp. Just cover it up really good with real red. And can you see that I got some red ink on that tape? But when I pull the tape off, it won't be there, so it won't mess up my image that I'm trying to make. Okay, so I'm just going to get everything covered in real red. Now it takes a while to do it this way, and so it's possible that parts of the stamp, the ink might have dried. So what we're going to do is huff. First I'm going to take off this Scotch tape. I don't need that anymore. Then I'm going to huff on the stamp, just like you would if you're trying to clean your glasses or something. Just get it moist with your air from your lungs. And then I'm going to stamp right on this part of the gift box that has the little finger tab. You can see that there's a section there to stamp in. So now I'm going to huff again because my stamp might have dried up by now. Okay, then I put it right where I want it to be. Press it a minute. And there I have stamped right on the gift box. Now that looks pretty nice, but I kind of want to fancy that up a bit. So I'm going to use, I think I'm going to use some pearls. I like pearls. So I'm going to use these little teeny tiny pearls. And you say, my gosh, how can you pick up such a teeny tiny pearl? Well, I'm going to use this little paper piercing tool. And it's very sharp, so it has a cover on the end. I take the cover off, just slide it off, and then I hold it like a pencil and just stick it underneath the pearl, and the glue that is stuck to the pearl also helps you stick it to the paper piercing tool. So I think I want a pearl, let's see, maybe right here. So I hold my finger there and pull the paper piercing tool out. Now that pearl's right where I want it to be. Well, one pearl looks kind of funny. I think I want more than one, so I'm going to put one right here. Yeah, another one. I'll know when it's enough, because it'll look good to me. There, and I think I need one maybe way up in that corner would be good. Put another one right here. Okay, so now, you know what, I think I still need one more pearl somewhere. Maybe right there. Okay, so there's glue on the back of these pearls, and that's what holds them on the card, or in this case on the gift box. And so now I would open this up and fold it just like we did in the project before. And when I'm all done, I'll have a cute little gift box with a heart banner on. So I have folded my little Valentine gift box, and I think it looks really kind of plain still. So I'm going to put a little ribbon on top just to kind of finish it off. And so I just wrapped the ribbon around the box, and I'm just going to tie just a plain old knot. I'm not going to make a bow, just a knot. So when I get my knot made, then I'll cut the ribbon off to the length I want. That way I don't waste any ribbon at all, because sometimes if you cut ribbon how long you think it should be, then you've got way too much and you wind up wasting ribbon. So I'm going to cut it right here, like this, and cut this one over here. I think that's just the length I want it to be, and you can see I just wasted a little tiny piece of ribbon, not 3 or 4 inches or 6 inches or something like that. So now I think I like my box a lot better. Okay, there's only one stamp in this stamp set that we haven't used, and that's this pirate guy. And he says, "Valentine, you're a treasure." And I did make a Valentine's Day card to show you, but I think that by now you've gotten so good at making Valentines that all I have to do is show you the card, and then you'd be able to make that on your own without directions. So here's the card I made. And you could color it in, of course, however you wanted to color it in. But I just stamped it on a scrap of Whisper White, and then I taped down a little pink heart and stapled the heart, stapled all 3 layers, the heart and the Whisper White and the real red that's a little bigger than the Whisper White, together. And then on top of that, to cover up my staple, I put another little pink heart. Then over here in the treasure box, treasure chest, I glued some little gold sequins just to look like gold spilling out of the treasure chest. But you can use your imagination and make lots and lots of Valentine's Day cards. So I'm just going to let you get busy doing that. And I hope you have a wonderful time. Talk to you next time.